All right, get ready for an absolutely massive weekend of football. Coming up on January 24th and 25th, 2026, we are breaking down all the key predictions for the Premier League and the Championship, and we're doing it right here.
And here's the plan. We're going to give you the complete forecast, all the key games, the betting angles, the predicted scores, and we're going to do it all in under 5 minutes.
So the big question is, where's the value hiding this weekend? We've dug through the analysis, and we've got some pretty fascinating predictions lined up for you. Let's dive right in.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the confident home victories. You know, the bankers. These are the teams that are heavily backed to get the job done on their own turf, the kind of results you might build an accumulator around.
First on the list, we're in the Premier League. Manchester City are hosting Wolves at the Etihad. Now, on paper, this one screams home banker. And the reasoning behind it is crystal clear, isn't it? The analysis points out just how ridiculously dominant City are at home. They're averaging over 3 goals a game there this season. That fully firing attack is just bad news for anyone who visits.
Which leads us to this prediction, a pretty comfortable 3-0 victory for Manchester City. The thinking is that Wolves just won't have the defensive muscle to handle that kind of relentless pressure.
Right, let's drop down into the Championship for our next one. We've got Middlesbrough taking on Preston at the Riverside.
Now, the context here is absolutely crucial. Middlesbrough are right in the thick of the playoff hunt. And you know, their amazing record at the Riverside is what's really driving that campaign. They're seen as really strong favorites against a Preston team that struggled to keep clean sheets on their travels.
So, the prediction is a 3-1 win for Borough. And notice, it's not just a home win, it's a high-scoring one. That suggests Preston might grab a goal, but they'll ultimately be outgunned.
Okay, we're going to wrap up our home bankers with a Sunday game from the Premier League as Brentford get ready to welcome Nottingham Forest.
And another dominant home performance is what's expected here. Brentford are tipped for a 3-0 win. They are just such a tough team to play against at their home ground, especially with Forest reportedly missing their starting center back and their top scorer.
Okay, so we've covered the home comforts. Now, let's flip it and look at the teams tipped to be road warriors, the ones expected to go out there and grab crucial wins away from home.
Our first away tip comes from the London Stadium, where West Ham are up against a Sunderland side that has been seriously impressive since their promotion.
So, here's the key thing. It's all about Sunderland's style. They are set up perfectly to just soak up pressure and then hit teams on the break. And when you put that up against a West Ham side that's dropped points in 3 of their last 4 home games, well, that looks like a recipe for an away win. And the prediction totally reflects that confidence in the visitors. A solid 2-0 victory for Sunderland is the call here.
Back to the Championship we go for Watford's trip to Ewood Park to take on Blackburn Rovers. And look at that. Another 2-0 away win is on the cards. The reasoning? It's a mix of Watford's excellent away record and Blackburn's defensive issues, which have seen them concede a bunch of goals in recent weeks. The Hornets are really expected to take all 3 points home.
Our final road warrior tip is a London derby, with Chelsea making that short trip across town to face Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park.
Would you believe it? A third straight 2-0 away win is the prediction. The forecast suggests Chelsea are really starting to build some serious momentum, and they should just have too much for a Palace team that's averaging less than a goal a game. A real professional job is expected.
All right, enough of all those clean sheets. Let's shift gears and talk about the games where you can just sit back and enjoy the chaos. These are the predicted thrillers, where goals are pretty much guaranteed.
Check out this number, 5. That is the total number of goals predicted for the clash between Bournemouth and Liverpool.
And this just perfectly illustrates why. A 5-goal thriller that ends in a 3-2 Liverpool win. Bournemouth are known for their fearless attacking football at home, but Liverpool's world-class firepower is expected to just about see them through, which should be an incredibly fun game to watch.
I mean, you can't really ask for a clearer setup than that, can you? This is for the huge top 4 clash at St. James's Park between Newcastle and Aston Villa.
With both teams just packed with attacking talent and both fighting for a Champions League spot, it's really no surprise that the prediction here is a 2-2 draw. This one has all the makings of the game of the weekend.
Okay, now for something a little different. Among all these tips and predictions, the analysis flags one massive game that comes with a serious warning label. You know, a fixture you might want to steer clear of. And it's one of the biggest of them all, Arsenal versus Manchester United at the Emirates. A classic rivalry with absolutely huge stakes.
But see, that's exactly the problem. This one is flagged as just being way too close to call with any confidence. Both teams have title ambitions, both are in pretty good form. It makes it a total minefield for predictions.
So, the crucial point is this. The big advice is to just avoid this game completely if you're building a multi-game bet. It's just far too unpredictable.
Okay, wow, that was a lot to take in. So let's do a really quick rapid-fire recap of all the key predictions for the weekend.
Here we go. Confident home wins for City, Borough, and Brentford. Strong away victories are tipped for Sunderland, Watford, and Chelsea. Goals are expected between Liverpool and Bournemouth, and a score draw between Newcastle and Villa. And finally, that big warning. Maybe stay away from the Arsenal versus United clash.
And that brings us to the end. We've laid out all the predictions, from the so-called bankers to the thrillers. But, football's never that simple, is it? Which leaves us with one final thought. Which one of these guaranteed winners do you think is destined to slip up? Something to think about. Enjoy the game.